101.3 FM across Brighton, Hove and Worthing. This is BBC Southern Counties Radio.
And on public transport, still looking good on the trains. No reports of any delays or cancellations. You can update us 08459 570057. I'm Stephen Cranford, BBC Southern Counties Radio Travel.
I want to outline on behalf of my union, the PCS, and the members who we represent, why it's absolutely vital, depending on us winning the vote tomorrow, that you join the strike. The Labour government since 1997, there has been more privatisation of civil service work than either the government of Margaret Thatcher or the government of John Major. I cannot promise that this strike and this campaign will stop the job losses, will keep the offices open, will stop the attacks on pensions. But what I can tell you is if we don't do anything, not only will it all happen, but it will happen faster and faster and faster and embolden the government and the employers to attack us even more.
Simon Weller, I bring fraternal greetings from the Brighton ASLEF branch. And being ASLEF, being train drivers, we are quite aware of the efficiencies of the cuts. As we will see as passengers, you'll see how efficient the railways have suddenly all become overnight. They've been cut to the bone, the staff have been cut to the bone. We are a model of efficiency, and I'm sure that if it goes ahead, that the public sector will become such an also model of efficiency. So with that, I will say this is a battle we can't really afford to lose when it's something as fundamental as the basic structure that holds the society together, which is provided by the public civil service. This Labour cabinet is not averse to destroying people's livelihoods. They are not averse to attempting to destroy their trade unions.
Once I'd started on the railways, it's very clear that it is a fraternity, and the people that are working for the railway aren't just working in a shop or aren't just working in some factory. It is almost vocational, that they are railwaymen and they are there to serve the passenger, the freight side, and it is all part of keeping the job going and keeping the railway. It's hundreds of years of history, and we really do appreciate that. I used to be very proud, very defensive of the railways, but now, no, I can't say that I'll hold my head up in the same way to say that I work for the railways. It's a matter of shame now. Our forefathers, put it twice dramatically, they handed the railway to us so that we could hand it on as part of a common service. But no, it's just being stripped, raped even.
Another disaster on the main line out of West London, even before the last one has finished being investigated. Two trains...
If the fears of the police and fire crews are realised, this will be Britain's worst ever rail disaster.
Two trains collided at the height of the morning rush hour. Hundreds of people found their journey to work had turned into a nightmare.
Data record prevented another blow to confidence in railway safety.
There would have been 3 rail accidents which could be directly attributed to privatisation or the process running up to privatisation. There were failures in all 3. These things had been pointed out prior to the accident. If they had been addressed, then the accident would not have happened. But all these things cost money. And because of the need for the private companies to be more efficient and save money, to make profit for the shareholders, these things were never carried out. that was the idea, to cut subsidy, to bring fresh investment, and it will be cheaper for the taxpayer, and everything will be so much more efficient and shiny. But that's the whole lie. It never happened. There is massive subsidy from the government, and the taxpayer is now paying a huge amount more than they were to the British Rail of 1997, 1998. Because BR was the most efficient railway in Europe. So, even though it was running it on a shoestring.
May I have your attention, please? Due to a fault with the electrical supply system at Merstham, services are subject to delay, alteration and possible cancellation. I am sorry for the disruption that will be caused to your journeys this afternoon.
Initially, the private companies brought some investment, but it was only in paint to give the impression that things were changing. But it was really just wallpapering over the cracks. Now, 6-7 years on, the cracks have become too big to ignore. Now there are so many competing operators that to get a through ticket from one end of the country to the other it's a logistical nightmare.
Mrs. Minda Llorando. At this moment, I have a big problem about my son, Chinky Llorando, 19 years old, because he has a kidney problem. He's a hemodialysis patient since he is 16 years old until now. My situation only, every day I walk to look for medical assistance for the dialysis of my son because he's like only for dialysis, but we have no money to pay. Every time I go to the Senate, I go to the Congress, I'm only asking, para lang, sir, you can help me for dialysis of my son. If there is someone will help me, if they will let me borrow the money, we will go immediately to the hospital. They don't like the outpatient because they only accept the rich people. If you are rich, you can enter immediately. If you are poor, you better stay in the what we call this, beside places.
Constant na lang po.
Masig matapat na nila ko ba? Para kay Jinky.
Basta may gusto niyo mo daghan ng dialysis?
Gamot lang, ma'am. Tapos Punta ako sa social service, ma'am.
Pagkatapos doon,
Dialysis, ma'am, ng anak.
dapat lahat ng dadaanan mo, sabihan mo sa akin. Pero pharmacy sa kadadaan, para lahat ng mga health agents ko, nabibigla sila eh. Pero dito yan.
Today, I will go to the social service to asking permission if they can give me a endorsement letter to the Senate. I go to my social worker and then I'm crying because my son was already like that. So my social worker told me, you know, like that, like he's doing like me, you know. Now your son is outpatient here. Why will you not prepare the money to pay the dialysis? No. You better accept your son. You better accept your son will die.
Saan na ba yung mga doctors? Sige na, go. Punta ka sa bedside. I'm Mr. Delphine Soriano Jr. I'm one of the clinical instructor here in Quirino Memorial Medical Center. This is one of the premier hospital in the Philippines who is catering for training and education and also research for the Philippine patients. So as the moment, the flight of nurses to the Philippines is quite bad because of the several of Filipino nurses go abroad, primarily because of they want to gain financial stability and they could not gain that here in the Philippines. One primary reason, or big reason, is that the allotted budget of the government is not enough. The health budget is being cut because it is realigned to budget for national defense, for payment of our loan in the World Bank. No? So we're just paying our interest for the World Bank. No? I'm not a politics, but the thing is, what I feel, no, the burden of seeing these patients suffering, wherein some of the politicians, some of the businessmen gaining wealth, they have all the resources, but these patients are there. Nagsalita siya. O tay, kumusta na kayo tay? Ang ano? Ito? Namamanhid.
How many of your students are planning to leave the country?
All of us. Like what they said, all of them like to leave the country. But if you're going to look into the graduates of nurses every year, for about 20 to 25 or even 30,000 graduating nurses. Okay? Several of these opted to go abroad. Should I say majority? Okay?
we reject today the dialysis because we don't have money to pay the dialysis. Here in the hospital, if you have no money, you have no dialysis. You can go home. Jinky will survive only if he cannot dialysis for 1 week or 10 days. 10 days only. Because after that, he must die.